Welcome to On Texas Football. I'm Bobby Burton, your host. I'm joined by Rod Babers. This is the new weekly feature called Second Watch with Rod Babers. Rod Babers, you break it all down for us, talk about what's going on. We'll talk a little bit about that. You got 5 different areas that you focused on in the post-game rewatch that I think are terrific. Fans are going to want to know it. Also want to say thank you to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Today. All right, let's go first, though, Rod, before we get going. Defensive adjustments, in your opinion, were one of the big keys to this game. What do you mean by that, defensive adjustments? Anything in particular?
I thought something really interesting that we saw, and maybe some, we can get some of our linemen guys on, B-Rob on, and maybe Tony Hill's on to break it down even more. But I saw a lot of bare fronts essentially when you got the center covered, both guards are also covered by the down defensive linemen. And you're pretty much going to force everything outside. You're going to just try to, obviously make it a mosh pit out there. And you're not going to allow them to run through those gaps at all. You pretty much got those gaps covered. And in addition to that, I saw what they call a penny front, which is a 5-man front. It can be 3 down linemen, kind of 2 overhang edges with 1 linebacker there. That's an off-ball linebacker. So I saw both. And interesting thing about it, it was 3 D tackles at times that they would use, a combination of 3 D tackles with some of these looks too. So you would see a combination at times of Lole and Bill Norton, are those guys playing the nose, and then they would have Alfred Collins out there and Vernon Broughton. Those also, so it was a really nice combination. And then on the edge, sometimes they would even use, and you saw all types of looks, right? We saw 4-3 and 3-3-5, 3-4. I mean, like I said, just the penny front that I just mentioned as well. They still threw out the dime, the NASCAR dime that we like so much. I do believe that's kind of their go-to third down package. So that wasn't something boutique. That wasn't something they threw out there specifically for Colorado State matchup base. They like it. It's one of their go-to things when they got a team pretty much in a third and long situation. But getting back to it, I thought defensively, they did a great job in adjusting to all the fronts, all the personnel looks and all the different power combinations that Michigan presents with a lot of different versatile players. And it showed you the versatility of the D-line. I mean, I saw Colin Simmons pretty much playing, Sam Backer basically at times. So that kind of look was versatile with 3 down line, Baron Sorrell standing up at times, 4-3 with Ethan Burke on the edge, standing up as an edge defender. It was a clinic, honestly. As a great job by obviously PK and the creative collaboration of him and of Johnny Nansen, and to kind of say some of the exotic looks that I think Johnny Nansen's bringing to the table. I've not previously seen some of those looks with the bare front, with the penny front, something that I saw at Johnny Nansen use at Arizona, and not something I've seen Texas have, something that they're regular as a regular sample of something that they use. So I think that's, once again, more of a Johnny Nansen influence on the defense.
I got to say this, Rod. I was surprised because I rewatched the game as well. To your point, they walked out the very first snap of the game. Texas walked out there with 3 defensive tackles on the field.
Yep.
Jermaine Lole, Vernon Broughton, and Alfred Collins. Then Michigan false started, and it went from 1st and 10 to 1st and 15. They took Jermaine Lole out of the game.
Yep.
And they did that sort of thing all game long.
All game long.
Does this talk to Sark in the offseason wanting to be multiple and versatile on defense? Is that part of the thought process with bringing in Johnny Nansen, marrying him with PK? Is that your thought?
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Bob. There's no doubt. And that's why, versatility has been the buzzword for Sark this offseason. That's probably the word I've heard him mention more than anything. And I think he's now trying to apply it in recruiting more versatile athletes. And this includes offense and defense. That latest recruiting class, you got some offense, some versatility in that athleticism with that group there. And it also includes defense, I think specifically on defense, because it offers you more solutions. So now they have all these guys that can play different roles. I saw Jelani McDonald playing nickel. So now that's a guy that they believe can play safety, play nickel. I think they're trying to really, even in their development, they're trying to emphasize versatility. Like I said, Colin Simmons, they got him playing more than a role just as an edge rusher. Anthony Hill, we know he can be on the edge, but also the off-ball linebacker. The way they use Janae Barrett, I think, is fantastic. The way they use a lot of their other pieces on defense, I think, lend themselves to being more and more versatile as they get deeper and deeper into this scheme. And this is the thing about it. Now you can take away, this is something else we'll get into, taking away a team's strength. Once again, you took away Michigan's identity. And I think that's going to be another unique quality of this PK Nansen collaboration. They did it with Colorado State. They actually probably gave up some, some weird plays later on in the game, in the passing game. But, just like people complaining about Colorado State getting a little too much rushing yardage than they thought, but they took away the identity. You took away Michigan's identity and forced Michigan to beat you where they're in a way that they're uncomfortable with. That's outside of their identity, outside the structure of what they want to do. And they did the same thing to Colorado State. It's almost like, hey man, we'll let you make some plays if you can beat us left-handed, but we don't believe you can beat us that way. And they're right. And I think that's going to be the really a common theme for this defense, because that's the key to being versatile. Last year they couldn't do that. They had an elite rushing defense, but they couldn't be versatile enough to take away a team's identity. All they could do was take away the run, and then you could throw on them, because they didn't have the versatile pieces, and they didn't have, in my opinion, the elite coverage defenders, which I think is what you have now in that back end. But it's now versatile enough in the front end and in the back end where they can just decide and be malleable week to week to say, all right, you know what, let's take away this because this is their identity. And then after that, we'll force them to beat us left-handed. And it's great so far.
I think this is a great point, because you're actually talking about two different things that you lined out for us now. You're talking about the defensive adjustments and versatility, allowing you, because you're so versatile, to then take away the opponent's strength. I thought this does that also tie in any at all to Texas taking away the Michigan strength on offense? It wasn't, because we were just talking only about defense there, but what about what Sark did with offense by throwing the quick stuff to the outside and getting those defensive linemen running and kind of he did it. They did it on both sides of the ball is what I'm saying. I agree with you. I think that was really good. The other thing I would ask you, Rod, NFL teams, you take away the run, they can pass. Take away the pass, they'll run on you, right? That's not as easy in college. Is that basic? I mean, is that just football 101? I mean, it's harder to do that.
Yeah, you got to have a quarterback that can make plays, right? That's what Michigan had last year. They were still pretty much the same identity, but they had obviously better running game. They can run the ball more effectively. Well, they needed a quarterback to make plays. They did, and that's something that we'll talk about on Texas side. You need a quarterback to make plays, and they just didn't have. Davis Warren couldn't do it. He did make some plays toward the end of the game, but not when the game was still competitive. And I think that right now for Texas, that's what's dangerous about this defense is they can really beat you in a number of different ways. And so not only is the scheme versatile, but now the personnel is as well, all across the board at every level. Because I didn't know they had this many guys that can play that many shades. Because basically they got Alfred Collins playing multiple shades. They got Lole and Bill Norton playing multiple shades. They got they got Baron Sorrell as a guy that they bump inside now. NASCAR pack, he plays multiple shades. So I didn't realize the defensive line would be that versatile. And Ethan Burke's a guy I think that has that kind of versatility too. They can bump inside with his frame. And then you the linebackers. Anthony Hill, of course, very versatile. I love the way they're using Colin Simmons too, just as a freak in space. He can handle it. Within a certain range, he can handle that. Janae Barron's another example. I saw Jelani McDonald with the nickel. So now the scheme is versatile and the personnel is versatile. And I do think that's going to give them the ability to just like they did. They ran 4-3, 3-4, NASCAR, dime. I saw a nickel. I saw the penny front, bear front, 4-2-5. I mean, they ran it all 3-3-5. They were everything. They were everything. To me, I haven't seen a defense that's that versatile in a while. I mean, it's been a while since we've had a defense that versatile, and I think the secondary is kind of leading the way there with that versatility. It's from the back. It's going from the back front to the front.
All right, I'm going to tell you that because they do have some older guys now in the secondary. Makuba, Jade, even Michael Taff, Manny Muhammad's got. I mean, they've got guys, and so this is going to make you smile and make friends of yours smile, because the other thing you wanted to talk about, or one of the other things you wanted to talk about, was DBU and the importance of takeaways coming through right now. What did you mean by that? Specifically, tell folks what you're thinking in that way.
They have now this the havoc-minded ball hawks back there in the secondary. You look at all the plays these guys are making on the football. They did it in the Colorado State game. We see it again. I think that's part of them really trying to basically I think it's Sark and the staff getting together, and they really wanted to have a new identity back there, and reinvent that secondary. And I think they've done it successfully with Makuba. I mean, Derek Williams, we ain't talking enough about Derek Williams, guys. And Sark gave the safeties a shout out in the post game and kind of said they established the physicality in that game. Guys, they ran the alley. They did. Makuba did a great job running the alley. Derek Williams was fantastic, being able to establish, the run, and then being able to take a beeline, great angle to the football and suffocate that cushion in that space. I thought Taft Daddy did a great job. I mean, they put Taft down in the box sometimes, just at linebacker depth, and just put him down there. I mean, that's sure how, this guy, he's assignment sound. If we put him down there and he's got an assignment, he'll get it done. They really, the secondary to me, and Janae Barron's making plays. I mean, Malik Muhammad is, you're not saying it. He's not the only guy that got his hand on the football, but he's the reason that Makuba got the interception, because he got the PBU. His coverage has been real sticky back there, man, real sticky. So I think the secondary is going to exceed all of our expectations. I was just hoping that it wasn't going to be a liability like it was last year, but it's going to be a strength. It's already a strength. It's going to be a strength going forward, guys. It may be one of the best in the country the way it's looking like to me. I'm serious. I'm not joking. It looks that good. They look that assignment sound, and he got so many guys, Bobby, that are contributing.
Yeah, they look. You know what it is? The word for me for them back there, Rod, is they look like they're cohesive.
Yeah,
like they're playing as a unit as opposed to a collection of individuals. Because you see them passing people off in zone. You see, like you said, Muhammad jumped in front. Makuba jumped in front of another pass on a third down.
Yep,
they're playing smart and together, and they're at Texas for a reason. They're pretty good athletes, right? And you add the other aspects to it, and I agree with you. I mean, you and Bob, Coach Shipley, were talking about it in the preseason. Like, look, last 2 times we've seen the secondary, ain't look good.
They look good.
Now, the first 2 times we've seen it this year,
fantastic.
That's just that's one of the things that. That's why you work in the off season, bring in new coaches, et cetera. I want to give a hats off, by the way. You mentioned Jelani McDonald playing nickel and Derek Williams playing down in the box as well as Michael Taft. I want to give a hat tip to Scott Hazelton, the Nichols coach, because part of this is having 3 DB coaches now, right? So they can learn all those positions. All right. Before we go to the next piece, we're going to switch over to offense because Rod has a couple things he wants to mention there. I want to talk about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, get in the game. Football season is here. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports. How does it work? It's simple. Just download the Underdog app or go online, and it takes almost no time. Playing their pick'em game, I can make my picks and submit an entry in less than 60 seconds, or I can take all the time I want and dig even deeper, making up to 8 picks in a single entry. You get them right, up to 325 times your money. Underdog adds a ton of excitement to the sports viewing experience, especially for football. The best part is you can watch your progress update in real time on the Underdog app. Today, Underdog is hooking you up for the start of football season. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code ONTexas for a first deposit match offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick. They also have an additional site-wide booster that you'll be able to take advantage of Again, underdogfantasy.com. Use promo code ONTexas right now for a first deposit offer of up to $1,000 and one free pick. That is On Texas is the promo code, and it's Underdog Fantasy, our choice and the choice for daily fantasy for Longhorn fans. Again, use code On Texas to get that special offer. All right, switching over to offense, Rod B. You had two things for me. I'll start with this one, and you really kind of starred and triple starred this one. The effect of pre-snap motion by Sark and how it played out against Michigan. What did you see, and why did you want to talk about it so much?
Yeah, I thought watching it that it was a extremely high rate of pre-snap motion early in the game. And when I went back and did the rewatch, I was right. It was the second highest rate of pre-snap motion that I have tracked for Sark since he's been at Texas. And more importantly, targets to motion. That essentially is when you target a player who was in motion prior to the snap or at the time of the snap. And to me, it's one of the conceptual signatures from Sark. Motion and targets to motion, they're really kind of some of the basic staples and really, to me, identifying qualities of his offense, like condensed formations. There are certain things you're going to see a lot of. And when you see extremely high rates of these conceptual signatures, to me, it just says that Sark's deep in his creative bag. And because I've noticed in some of the big games, right, if you go look at the highest rates of targets to motion, Alabama in 2023 was the highest rate of targets to motion. You had 11. Oklahoma State in 2023, Big 12 title game. And then you had 9 versus Bama in 2022. You had 9 versus Michigan this year. And then that Kansas game in 2021, you had 9 targets to motion because Sark was fighting for his life. So he's breaking out everything he's got against Kansas in that game, right? That was the biggest upset in Big 12 history. So when Sark's getting really creative, you'll see a lot high rates of those conceptual signatures, and that is one of them, pre-snap motion. So you're at your second highest rate of pre-snap motion, and you had your tied for your third highest number of targets to motion. And to me, that to me shows you that Sark, and a lot of that was in the first half too, by the way. So that was in the script. As we've heard, Sark was a 40-play script. So I think that to me just says how much the game meant to him, and that he decided to be aggressive. And I've talked about this, being extremist, right? There are times for Sark, because usually Sark's pre-snap motion rate probably the last 3 years has been 55%. Hovering between 55 and 60%, somewhere around there. All right. But like I said, there are certain games where he increases it exponentially. And I've argued during this season, he should increase it to 70+% every game. Like every game. He shouldn't be at 55%. He should be at 70%. Hell, Andy Reid that game against the Chiefs, and I know Sark watched it, by the way, he might have been inspired by it. The Chiefs, when they beat the Baltimore Ravens in that thrilling, dramatic win, the first half pre-snap motion rate for Andy Reid was 90%. The Miami Dolphins last year led the NFL at over 82%. The Rams are at 70+%. The 49ers at 75%. Green Bay's at 64%. I mean, Kansas City is at 62%. All the best offenses in the NFL are higher than Sark. Sark should be higher. It is a cheat code. It works. I remember Brian Harsin telling me, "Hey, motion causes emotion, and I want defenders to make emotional decisions because those are usually bad ones." I always say, don't make decisions when you're emotional. He wants to, because they do. It causes NFL defenders, period, to freak out, no matter if you're NFL or college. And I think for Sark, higher rates of pre-snap motion this year would really help not only the passing game, but it would help the run game too. I mean, it works. I've looked at passer ratings, yards per attempt, success rates, all higher when you include pre-snap motion. And Sark knows this, so I don't know why we don't use more of it. I'll give you real quick the numbers on targets to motion. This is how effective they are. Last year, targets to motion, you averaged over 10 yards per attempt, over 70%, 75% completion percentage. If you go look at your explosive play rate, you were over 20% explosive play rate, targets to motion, and that tracks to 2022. You had 80% completion percentage. You averaged over 10 yards per attempt. Your explosive play rate above 25%. It works. 2021, I can give you those, but it's basically the same. Targets to motion work and higher rates of pre-snap motion. So Sark needs to be an extremist about that specific cheat code and hack, because it worked for him in the Michigan game, and it works for him in the Alabama games. In the Alabama game, basically, in the last 2 years, Sark has had 20 targets to motion in those games combined. Right? He understands that if it worked against the best elite players in the country, they're going to be first round picks, why not use it like that against everybody? But at times he decides to, be a moderate about it, and I don't understand it. But Sark did a great job. My point is, it was an amazing game plan, and pre-snap motion was a big part of it.
I got to say this. You talked about targets to motion. That's what the Jaden Blue touchdown pass was in the second half.
Yep, exactly what it was.
I mean, and you know what? That was against a Michigan defense that's supposed to be very sound. You know, and
Bobby, the Gunnar Helm touchdown was also a target to motion. He was in motion prior to the snap. It works, guys. It works. It throws off the defense, and it makes us communicate and miscommunications, and then it throws off the strength and of the defense and everything, which sometimes can change the coverage and then change the front. I do all types of stuff, guys. It works. There's Mike Zimmer recently. What do you hate about modern offensive football? He said all the motion, all that damn pre-snap motion. It's a pain. It's a pain, man. Trust me.
That's one of the reasons why you have to have experience on defense too.
Yep.
And one of the things that I think Texas now has a little bit in the secondary, so that there's working both ways there. But Sark's pre-snap motion. The next piece you wrote, Sark, and this was just a simple statement. I'll read it to you, and I'll let you go from there. Supreme confidence in Quinn. What do you mean?
I'm starting to see the straight drop back passing game, I believe, a little bit more in critical situations. Even like the red zone, right? Take, for instance, the game against Colorado State. If I'm not mistaken, the Bond touchdown is straight drop back. One of the golden touchdowns is him straight drop back. I remember some of these third downs that Texas had, that 3rd and 13, where Bond had the double move, just nice straight drop back from him. He's getting so comfortable with, and this is what NFL scouts want to see. When everybody in the stadium knows you got to throw the football. There's no deception. Sark's offense is quarterback friendly because it's a deception-based offense. 65% of it is RPOs, play action pass, screen game, right? Really quarterback friendly throws, things that are going to up your stats and make you look good. They're hacks, they're cheat codes. But man, when they get you in 3rd and really long, and you're going up against NFL players like Michigan has, don't listen to all that national narrative now. Oh, that a lot of players drafted and they lost him. That defense was loaded, guys. It still is loaded. It's going to have like 3-4 NFL guys drafted from that defense alone. And when you get in a 3rd and long, and you got an NFL defensive mind like Rick Martindale on the other side too, and he gets ready. He gets to dial up anything he wants because everybody knows what you got to do, and then you're still able to convert those 3rd and longs, 3rd and 13. Oh man, I'm so sad about the touchdown to DeAndre Moore. Getting called back, but don't worry, the scouts seen it, so it's all good. They saw it. They saw him being throw the football on the run. There was a 3rd and 10, I believe, was it Golden? That 21
he split inside, and Quinn came up.
Just stepped up, and so he's starting to step up in the pocket. And Sark said, and even and Quinn was asked about it. What are you working on in the offseason? Pocket presence, what they talked about. And Quinn specifically talked about stepping up in the pocket. That I got to learn how. And he said, I'm good at doing it in play action. He said it naturally works with my mechanics in play action and footwork, but he wasn't doing it in straight drop back. And now we're starting to see him do it. Step up in the pocket. The Gunnar Helm touchdown, he stepped up in the pocket. So starting to see him step up in the pocket and then make those throws, whether it be obviously with a play action, but importantly seeing it with straight drop back situations too, and then being able to make those plays. We're seeing a different Quinn Ewers, and I've talked about it. The capability, right? Be able to put the cape on in big moments and critical moments. I don't know if I've seen Quinn play better than that, considering the circumstances on the road and against NFL caliber talent and against NFL coaches. I think Sark is trusting him a lot more. There was a 2nd and like I think it was like 2nd and 19 or something late in the game, where you're up, but instead of a conservative throw, it was a straight drop back for Quinn, and he let Quinn throw it downfield. He had a downfield route and everything. And I was thinking to myself, man, that's a lot of trust to have in your quarterback. Because why not just throw a screen, throw something easy? No, he trusts Quinn. I think he has supreme trust now in his quarterback that he can operate that offense, critical moments, third down, red zone, no matter what the situation. There's no panic anymore in Quinn's game. The way he was throwing away the football, there were like 2 or 3 throwaways that I thought that was the best play to make. That was the best play you could have made right there, was to throw the football away. And there are times I think last year he might have tried to force something or do something else, but he's making all the right decisions. So I just think now the trust that Sark has, I've talked about this, give the offense to Quinn. Give it to him. The pass rate in the first half was 60%. It should be like that every game. Give it to Quinn. He's ready for the offense to be his now.
This is the second watch with Rod Babers. Rod, I got to ask you one more question, okay? The use of Gunnar Helm in this game. What did you make of that? I mean, all of a sudden he's the team's leading receiver. What did you see there?
Yeah, that was phenomenal. It brought me a lot of joy watching him out there and have that big moment on that big stage, because I know how hard Gunnar Helm's worked, and I know what kind of leader he is behind the scenes, and he doesn't really care about the accolades and stuff like that. He just wants to win. He is that guy, the ultimate team guy. I just think you have so many weapons now. And I didn't predict this, but I said this could be the case. You could have a different leading receiver in half the games this year. And I would, right? It could totally happen. You've already had two games, your first 2 games, you've had leading receivers. I wouldn't doubt, Bobby, because the defense doesn't know. Who am I supposed to take away? I guess I can take away Bond. If I was the coordinator, you ask me who I take away Bond, because they seem to want to funnel usage to him. But that's not going to do me any good, because Golden can hurt you just as much. And I think, if they throw in there DeAndre Moore, we still haven't seen DeAndre Moore. All we saw was a glimpse of him in this game, and they took that away. But Ryan Wingo flashed for us, and we all know what kind of freak he could be. I just think that, it's really tough on defensive coordinators, because they really want to know who to take away, and to help you build a defensive game plan. You don't really have that. So I think they try to play you straight up. And that's not really a wise idea either. I would play Texas situationally. I'd go red zone, we're taking Golden away. Third down, might think away taking Gunnar, Helm, or maybe Bond away on third down.
What about Jaden Blue? I mean, Wisner, Blue, they're both been prolific in the passing game early on. Very productive.
I'll give you a stat about what I think Jaden Blue's going to do. I don't want to jinx him, because I know he dealt with a little got nicked up. He came back in and played well. I call it the 30-40 club. Players in Texas football history to get at least 30 rushes and 40 receptions in the season. The last one to do it was Chris Obanaya in 2008. Before him, it was Eric Metcalf. Before him, think about it, that's like decades in between.
Yeah, that's 25, 30 years.
Yeah, and it's kind of tracking. We're about to get to right? Yeah. We're approaching that. It's rare to have that kind of running back that you can do both with. And Jaden Blue's that kind of running back. Like, he's special. He had 6 targets in the Colorado State game. Ended up with 6 receptions in this game total. He's approaching it. He's getting close to it. But no, you're right. I just think that's what it is. Gunnar Helm, he's gonna eat because of it. Because I can't afford to focus on Gunnar Helm, guys. I got too much other stuff to worry about. And now I got the running game, man. I think the offensive line, they're actually going to make the running game a potential threat, even though you don't have your full complement of backs. I think they ran pretty good on Michigan. I didn't expect them. They pounded Michigan. They matched the physicality of Michigan up front.
Rod, my apologies, by the way. I've got a light going out here, apparently.
Oh, no worries.
I'm flickering right now. I don't want to take away from the second watch with Rod Babers. Rod, you are just you have so much information. Is there anything else you want to add before we let you go? We'll come back tonight with the live stream and talk a little bit more Texas football. Anything else you want to add to this list?
No, not really. I mean, it's just a great performance. Right now, I think this team is got to be as good as any team in the country. I mean, the way they look right now, and that performance against Michigan showed you a lot about the character of this football team.
Well, the AP poll voters agree with you, Texas. If you did not know that, guys and gals listening in, the AP moved Texas up to number 2 in the country.
Yeah,
number 3, ahead of Ohio State, still 1 behind the University of Georgia. All right, Longhorns 2-0. Rod, thank you so much for the second watch. Really good stuff. Also, thank you to our sponsor again. Don't forget to use code ONTEXAS for that first deposit match offer and the free pick here as we start football season. Again, Underdog, use code ONTEXAS if you want that first deposit match offer. Rod, you have fun. I'll see you later tonight, bud.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one. Welcome.